What is happening, YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New coming at you this morning. Just hope everybody had a safe and blessed, positive-filled weekend. So peace and much love to everybody that's out there in YouTube land. But I just want to go ahead. I had a little rant earlier about the Packers here, but I just want to jump right into some of the things with the NBA that went on over the course of the weekend. So as we all know, the Brooklyn Nets had an opportunity to go back and redeem themselves against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who actually put a hurt on them previously with the first appearance of James Harden in the big three of the Nets with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. And we all know what happened then, so I won't go into too much details about that loss. But then they had an opportunity to defeat them and kind of redeem themselves again that Friday night. And of course, Kevin Durant sat out, and he had just played 50 minutes on that Wednesday night, and so I guess they just want to give him a rest, and maybe they just want to see how Kyrie Irving and Harden could play off of each other without Kevin Durant. We saw Kyrie and Kevin Durant look pretty good together before the arrival of Harden, so maybe they just want to see that way they can get used to playing with each other, and then just get a bench opportunity to learn and grow and gel together too. But it didn't work out for them. They actually got spanked. They actually got spanked by the Cleveland Cavaliers pretty heavily. So it just looks like Kyrie Irving is not going to take a backseat to anybody. That's just something he's not going to do. He's going to get his shots up. Like I said, the previous night when all three of them played together, he took 28 shots and Harden took 14 shots. You cannot be out here taking double the shots of James Harden, because James Harden is a walking bucket. And trust me, Kyrie is very skilled, and I'm pretty sure they're going to all work it out eventually. They're going to work it out together and have a more fluid offense. But the thing that still continues to worry me about the Brooklyn Nets is that bench, because they just don't have the bench. And they did win the next game. I think they had back-to-back. So Saturday night, they played Miami, and they could just not dispose of Miami. They could not. I mean, they won the game, but it was just close down the stretch the entire game. And the thing about it, Miami wasn't even playing. Jimmy Butler didn't even play. Jimmy Butler was still day-to-day. So he was nursing, I believe, a sore ankle. So he was still day-to-day and not even playing. So you mean to tell me the big three? Now, this that weak Miami team that made it to the finals in the bubble that everybody said was so weak. But this big three of Harden, Kyrie, and Durant could not just go out and do what the Lakers did to Chicago that Friday night. See, that's the difference between a team with the bench and a team without a bench. And I hope the Lakers don't go out here and everybody's saying get Oladipo and get rid of KCP and Caruso or whoever. No, keep that deep bench, because you need players to step up. You never know when a player can get injured. You give up what you got for Oladipo, then Oladipo is injured. Oladipo stay injured. Nobody wants a player that can't stay healthy. Nobody wants that. I mean, he's a hell of a talent, and he's great, don't get me wrong. And if he could stay healthy, that would be a tremendous talent. But the Lakers are deep enough. LeBron and AD are good enough. Because if you look, like, you can't do that with Brooklyn. But with LA, you can just go 1 through 10 and say, all these players are good players who are capable of contributing. LeBron James and AD, you know what they're capable of doing. KCP, you know what he's capable of doing. Marc Gasol, you know what he's capable of doing. Dennis Schroeder, you know what he's capable of doing. Montrezl Harrell, you know what he's capable of doing. Markieff Morris, you know what he's capable of doing. He's not the best, but he's still a good player to come off your bench, because he can still hit threes and spread out the defense and go small when you need to go small. Caruso, you know what he's capable of doing. Kyle Kuzma, you know what he's capable of doing. Now, if you can put together a trade package that could somehow get rid of Kyle Kuzma, even though he's coming on and hit timely threes, I think you can still get some trade value for Kyle Kuzma. If you can get rid of Kyle Kuzma by the deadline and just bring in another big man, another rim protector, then that would be great. I think it's possible. There are reports that the Nets are pursuing JaVale McGee, and that's something they really need, because they don't have a rim protector. So that's something that they would really need. But we'll just see how that all works out. There's still a lot of season left to be played, but I just had to chime in on that because everybody was saying how great these Brooklyn Nets are going to be, but we saw what happened to them. And, they barely beat Miami. They had some opportunities to really put them away, but they just would not let Miami go away. And think about it, if Jimmy Butler was out there to give you defense on the other side of the floor and give you the buckets, it might would have been a totally different game. So it's going to be interesting to still watch the Nets. Steve Nash is still learning as a coach. I noticed he does a lot of substitutions late in the half to bring in offense and defense, which that's a smart thing to do because you're giving them game time situations to learn, at the end of the game and things of that nature. But you can see the difference between a team that's deep like the Lakers, who has a quality bench, and the team like the Nets that just only has 3 superstars. And they kind of remind me the Miami Heat, and they were able to win a couple of championships, but when you paid LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh all that money, you were not able to just have a deep bench. I mean, you had a Battier, and you had, of course, Ray Allen, in the later years. That was great at the twilight of his career, but at the end of the day, they didn't have a deep bench. And when they went against San Antonio, especially the second time when D Wade knees was out on them, you didn't have a bench to help carry the load during the course of a game and during the course of a championship run. You have to have that. But one thing I will say, the Lakers are hanging their hat on the defense. They still are top 3 in defensive percentage shares and still top 3 in holding opponents' points per game in the league. And the Nets have fallen out of the top 20, and they like 21st or 22nd in opponents' points per game. So that's another thing that won't win you a championship. So we've seen the Nets, what they've looked like with the big 3 only in 2 games. Really, they lost to the Cavs and they beat Miami. So it'll be interesting the rest of the week just to kind of tune into some of their games to see how that's all going to mesh together. I still would think that they should have enough to get out of the East. So everybody who gave LeBron James hell and said the East was so weak and the East was this and that, if they don't get out of the East and they cannot beat the Bucks, and you saw what LeBron and company did to the Bucks the other night. And I'm glad to see, I failed to mention that Anthony Davis did finally step up and have him a great game. I kind of figured he would because he was going back to his hometown of Chicago. And I thought it was interesting that they did let THT get some minutes that night too. And the Lakers are doing a hell of a job resting LeBron James through the season. I was wondering why he was playing the whole third quarter, because they was building that lead up so good. And normally he would have went out and set out at the end of the third quarter to come in the fourth. But it was obvious that Vogel had a plan that they could build that lead from 15 to 20, and if they can maintain that lead without them, cutting it back to 10 in the fourth quarter, that LeBron James and Anthony Davis could sit out the whole fourth quarter. And that's what happened. So they sat out the whole fourth quarter. Friday night, that was some good rest, and then they was off Saturday. I was that Saturday night, so then they was off Sunday night, so then they play again tonight. So it'll be real interesting to watch LeBron James and Anthony Davis gel some more tonight. One thing I thought was real interesting is the Chicago players came out and said that LeBron James was calling out their plays before they even went down there and set it up. And LeBron James did confirm that in the press conference, that he does that to all the teams, and that he was just watching film on Chicago that whole day, just getting prepared for them. So with all that being said, LeBron James has the highest IQ in basketball, and one of the highest IQs basketball has ever seen, and that's what makes him so great. And LeBron James, he is getting up in years, and you can see he is losing a tad bit of that athletic ability, but that was something that Michael Jordan was able to do when he started losing this athletic, and Kobe at the end of their careers, when they started losing their athletic ability, they just started going more to the fadeaway, and that is something LeBron James is doing a lot of, and that fadeaway is looking pretty nice. It's looking pretty sweet on both of those blocks, on the left and the right block. So anyway, man, shouts out to the Lakers for handling business. The Clippers and the Lakers tied for first atop of the West. Too bad the Memphis Grizzlies, all 3 games in a row was postponed due to COVID. So just hoping the players can stay healthy and, get back to playing basketball, because the Memphis Grizzlies have quietly crept into their top 8. And I just want to see if they can maintain that through the course of the season with a young player like Ja Morant, and then they're trying to still get a couple other players healthy. But at the end of the day, this is your boy, Be New. I'm saying right on to the real. Much love to the haters. Man, y'all like, share, subscribe. Y'all know what to do. Much love. I'm out.